Sills want to. Oh, man. Leave my Stevie alone. Giving me. Hey, you know what propelled me to have a great open to my show today? Talking to Zander prior to my. Holy shit, man. Oh, my God. Hey, Zander was worried that I wouldn't have a good open to my show. Are you fucking crazy? He helped me have the greatest open to my show in 3 weeks. Holy shit. The kid was hollering at me. Steve. Oh, my God. Did you hear what I said? I was giving kudos to Nick Sirianni. Holy cow. Giving kudos to Nick Sirianni. I got to tell you, man. Pretty good. I mean, Nick said his value was he is helping in these hiring of assistant coaches. Is that worth $25 million? So Zander and John today, before I bring Zander up, Zander and John think that, or John, I think it does. I don't believe Zander did. We'll get a confirmation on this in a second. You're going to pay him more than Andy Reid. That would mean he's the highest paid coach in North American sports, the Power Four, hockey, baseball, hoop, and football. Nick Sirianni. It's April 15th. Where the hell is it, Nick? Come on, Nick. What the hell is this thing? Let's bring in, without further ado, I hope he's in a good mood. He wasn't earlier. My boy from Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause.
No comment, Sills. No comment.
My first page.
No comment to Big Sills other than who the hell cares what Sirianni makes? It ain't coming out of the salary cap. Pay him $25 for all I care. Jeffrey Lurie, it's the least they can do. Let's see what he does.
Do you think, though, what I said? Hey, bro, how much impact do you think he's had on Jalen Hurts' development as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I guess I can't say zero, can I?
No, but I'm going to get around to coming back on maybe where it was. But as a hand-to-hand,
I mean, I don't put Jalen Hurts' success at Sirianni's feet. I'm not going to do that. Similar to, if Caleb Williams has a good year, you'll point to Ben Johnson and say what a good fit they are. I don't see that, but that's not the setup here. It's not the setup. It's not what Nick does. It's not what he's asked to do. It's interesting because early in his career, I think it is kind of what they wanted him to be. They wanted him to be an offensive guy, an offensive savant, one of those people. But now he hasn't. That's more to Jalen Hurts' credit. That's more to the quarterback coaches. But to be honest with you, I really think it's on Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think that's the most of the credit on his development is on him. And I think Brian Johnson played a part in it as well, especially that first year starting for him.
So did Nick Saban probably play a lot of into his success because of what happened. And also he was 26-2.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget, the SEC is probably the minor leagues of the NFL. If you had a minor league system, the Southeastern Conference, would it not be considered the second best football league in North America? I'll tell you this, I could put an all-star team together from the SEC and handle anything from the UFL. Do you not agree?
Oh, I agree completely. I agree. Those are the best prospects upcoming, man. Those are the best 20-year-olds in the country in the SEC for the most part. So, no, I agree with that completely. I mean, and that was a big that was a big part of it. That what you just said about Jalen, and I think Lincoln Riley helped him a lot. Zeal, I'm sorry to take it out on you again, but I was doing this segment pre-show or on After Birds 365 on Zander time, and we're talking about Shedeur Sanders. And I had somebody tell me he didn't win a lot at Colorado, and he basically likened it to how Hurts won. And I'm like, Hurts played at Alabama and Oklahoma. What the fuck are you talking about? That's not the same as Colorado. But, they wanted to tell me that Oklahoma wasn't that good of a program. I'm like, dude, they had 2 quarterbacks taking 1 overall. They won a lot of football games.
Bro,
But,
Oklahoma is one of the top 10 programs of all time.
yeah, agreed.
I mean, what are you, stupid, man? All right, how about this one?
I wasn't having any of that.
No, Oklahoma, man, that's Texas shit and all that, man. You're crazy. How much impact do you think he has in the direction of the offense since 2021?
Who, Nick?
Yeah.
I still think it's kind of
See, I'm trying to get him paid. The highest paid. I want my exercise here. I want to pay him.
Sileo is going to run through all of the things that Sirianni has publicly been removed from, and that's going to be the exercise here. I'm already picking up on it early. How much impact? I think it's the Jalen Hurts offense. This is my take on the offense. I really think it hasn't changed that much. You've had 4 different coordinators. It hasn't changed that much, and you're about to have another one, and it's not going to change that much again. So I think it's Jalen Hurts' offense. It's tailored to what he likes to do and what he wants to do, and I think Nick has had a part in it. I do. I mean, you can't come from where he came from and then make an offense that works with Jalen Hurts. I think he got a lot of help from guys like Shane Steichen, who brought out other things in the playbook that Jalen thrived at that maybe showed another side of Jalen Hurts. But yeah, I mean, maybe Nick hasn't done too much. I don't know. I'm not in the room. Maybe he's done a lot. Maybe he is the offense, Sileo.
Hold on. I'm trying to get him paid. I want to pay him more money than any guy in North America.
You're trying to take me all around the world so we can prove together that maybe he ain't worth that $20 million nugget.
Hey, here we go. How much impact do you think he has in the personnel that is being added to the roster every year?
0.
Well, don't you think he recommends
10%.
something?
10%.
Don't you think he recommends
10%?
Okay, that's what I got. All right. So he has no impact in the development of the quarterback. He has very little impact in the direction of the offense. He has 10% impact on the people that he adds to his roster on a year-to-year basis. Okay, now here. So far, I'm not paying him very much. Now, secondly here, here's where I think he is important. Bro, I do think his connections, and I do think now, having talked to Frank last night, and I found out how Bobby King got there. Bobby King was in San Diego as an assistant linebacker coach with Frank and him when they were all there together. And so he recommended it, and John Pagano told me that he had never met Bobby King. But John Pagano and Chuck went like this to Vic. This guy's a really good up-and-coming coach. Vic, without even talking to him, hired him. Nick went, yeah, I know him. Frank signed off on him. When people say players play for him, it's so stupid. I'll tell you what he does do that I'm starting to think may be true. I think Nick allows his assistant coaches to coach these kids and to coach these players because the results are a direct outcome. When you didn't have good coordinators in 23, it was a shit show. When you had other coordinators that were decent, that came through the ropes of Mike McCoy, Frank Reich, and all these guys that have worked together, those guys went on to get head coaching jobs. I think he's got a pretty good connection when it comes to these offensive guys and who he's hiring. I think there's an innate thing with that I think that Nick's got say in that coaching staff more so than I thought.
Well,
when it comes to the people that he brings into that building.
Yeah, now I'm going to play the contrarian. I mean, I also think if you're Jeffrey Lurie, can't you look and say, Nick, the one year I gave you the autonomy to hire some coordinators, we fell off the rails and collapsed, and you fired the coordinator in week 12. When we brought in the coordinators, we went to the Super Bowl twice. So that's what they're going to use against Nick. But, the other thing is, and I understand your question about the offense and all those different things and the personnel and the connection and all the – here's, I think, the biggest question, though, that you haven't asked that should be asked, and this is why he's going to get paid. How much does Nick Sirianni advance the agenda of Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman with minimal pushback and optimal efficiency. Meaning, he doesn't ruffle feathers. He doesn't make waves like Big Sills. He doesn't do any of those things. All right. He's there. He does his job. He lets Howie do his job. He tells the people what the owner wants him to tell people. I think that's why they're paying him. I really do. I think that's why they're paying him. Because they think he's the perfect coach for them. And that's really all we need him to be. Now, let's be real. I mean, the objective thing is you don't pay $20 million for a guy to have good relationships. That's not what you pay $20 million for. But this is Philly. It's Jeffrey Lurie's world, and we're just living in it. And this works. This has worked better than any other coach since Andy with Jeffrey Lurie, where they want to run it their way. They got PTSD, I think, from Chip Kelly, and I can't blame him for it. He blew up their team completely, made them the laughingstock of the NFL, basically. And he's now clinging on to this squad, and he doesn't want to give it up. And Nick is perfect for him. So I think that's what's happening, honestly.
So I'm going to pay a guy $25 million to be in charge of a dating service.
No,
so,
you're not paying $20 million.
Relationships. What?
No, because he's zero headache. He does a good job at what you need him to actually do a good job at. Right. And he doesn't, like I said, doesn't upset the apple cart. Is Jeffrey Lurie going to get similar success from a $10 million coach? Maybe, but what's that $10 million coach going to want after a year of success or after a Super Bowl or after any of those things? I think they have Nick right where they want him. I really think they do. I think they have more
deal.
I think they got more leverage than he does.
Then where's it? That's a great comment. Then where's his deal? Is that why his deal's not? Get this.
Maybe.
What do you think? Who's holding the deal up? Do you think Nick or the Eagles?
I don't know. Maybe it's already been done. Maybe it's already done. We don't know. There's no
Wouldn't
report.
That be something you want to get out there that you just rewarded? And if it's
I don't know, man. They're weird about it. You remember Andy Reid's contract didn't come out till a couple months later. Now, Philly's a little different. They like the headlines a little bit more than Andy and the Chiefs do. But, maybe the deal's already done. I do think that Nick's team would be the one upholding it or holding it up because his agent is probably like, hey, man, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. I want to be the highest paid coach. And he has a right to say that. But Jeffrey Lurie is probably like $16 million. Take it or leave it.
Wait a minute. I want Zander to get his little book out here because
16 M's. Take it or leave it.
Here's my prediction. They're going to move out of the first round, and they're going to announce on draft night that Nick Sirianni has been paid X amount of money.
No.
And that's when they're going to announce it. They're going to announce it on draft night in 9 days.
No,
that Nick and Howie have both been extended. And then they're going to do this. We are moving out of the first round, and we're moving to the 5th round.
They might. The other funny part about the leverage conversation with them is they can easily say to him, hey, you're on a Hall of Fame trajectory in Philly. You think you're going to be on a Hall of Fame trajectory if you go somewhere else? Bye-bye, Nicky. Now, I like Nick, all right? I do. I like Nick, but I like him for Philly, okay? I like him for Philly.
How much you like him? You like him for $24 million? Do you like him for
not my money. I don't give a shit what he makes. It's not my money. I want the Eagles to be successful. I want the Eagles to be successful. No, John doesn't care about the Eagles being successful. I want the Eagles to be successful. I think keeping him around gives you the best chance at success. I don't care how much it costs Jeffrey Lurie. So my opinion is still get the deal done. He's worth it. But I do wonder how the deal is going to go because I think the Eagles have more leverage than people think.
All right. I got to say so. I'm going to throw this out here. Look, I moved off the first page after an hour and 45 minutes. Holy shit here. All right. So, I hear people, all your draft experts and everybody telling me this and that. Where in the world did the 32nd pick become this golden goose's egg where all of a sudden, hey, we can't take a running back or a linebacker or safety at 32. We can't. I'm like, hang on here. 32, 33. I don't know. Where are we going here? It's the same pick. One's the first pick and the second. Zander, don't you think all things are open at 32? I mean, so when Malachi Starks comes in there and you're looking at him, here's a stat for all you freaks out there that cover the draft. here. In the last 3 drafts, the first 3 picks in each round have all had visits that the Eagles have had them into Philadelphia, and they spoke.
Is that right? All the top 3 picks?
All 3 picks, their first 3 picks in the last 3 drafts
Wow, that's
have
big.
all been personal invited guys into the organization on their visits. So they're not doing anything sneaky here going, hey, there's a guy out there we really like that we're not bringing in. They're not playing that game. They're kind of showing your hand a little bit. This is the one thing that they show their hand at is that their visits, the last 3, that they have been pretty consistent in. The guys they bring in, one of those guys is going to get drafted. That's a pretty big number there. So
Howie and Nick spoke today too.
What's that?
Howie and Nick spoke today. They were going right before your show, so I was watching them a little bit, but I got to go and re-listen to the whole thing. You know, they were saying a lot of nothing, but there was a couple tidbits in there that I picked up from Roseman. You know, he likes D lineman, man. I'm thinking D lineman at pick 1. I'm telling you, man. They asked about interior pass rush and interior defensive line, and he lit up like a balloon. And he's like, "Yeah, this is it's one of the fastest ways to get to the quarterback. That's how you get pressure. It's obviously a huge priority in Philly." So I think they're going to go that route. But no, you're right. I mean, look, anything can happen at 32, and they did just bring in Malachi Starks. To your point, they bringing people in, so maybe he is an option. It's not my favorite pick. I'm not gonna lie. I like the player. It's not my favorite pick for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. It's just not. I don't think it gives you the best chance at recreating the number 1 overall defense or even a top 5 defense, which gives you the best chance to go back and win a Super Bowl. So I'm going defensive line, and when I identify which guy I want, I would be relentless to go and get him. That's my approach. Doesn't mean it's going to be their approach, but I would trade up if I needed to go get my guy.
Let me give you a couple trade scenarios here.
Like, bro, would you trade the 27 for James Pierce? Or 28?
Trade for the 28th or here.
Yeah, trade up 4 or 5 picks. Give a 3rd and a 5th.
If I really like that guy and I'm
right. Like
I would do it.
I would do it 100%.
I would do that. I would. Okay, let me throw this at you here. To that point, I've brought this up and I did more detail into it, what it would cost to do this. By the way, we'll get to all your supers. Please hit the like button, guys. So I'm really intrigued by the Saints because I'll tell you this, Kellen Moore's got a shit show down there in New Orleans. There's a shit show there. I mean, who's quarterback?
I don't know. I actually don't hate it.
Who's the quarterback? You're $60 million over the cap.
What if they put Shadur in there?
That fixes it?
I'm not saying it fixes it, but they actually have decent skill players.
They do.
And they have decent lines. They're not great, but they're not.
Shadur falls to him, or do you think they draft him high in that top 10?
9 overall.
Let me go here for you. Let me think about that. So that how about if you let him fall?
I think he's going higher. I'm a Shadur guy. All right. I went through an exercise. I told you I talked about this on Zander time today. And I brought up and I had a communication with the chat of, all right, what don't we like? What don't you like about this guy? Dude, it's all bullshit. I'm telling you, it's all bullshit. All the things that people don't like about it. If you want to tell me you don't think Shadur has the football talent or some of those things are going to hold him back, that's fine. But the minute I hear someone say, oh, he's arrogant, and I'm like, dude, shut up. Shut up with that crap.
Not anything
I hate that analysis. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him at all. I think he's pro style ready. I think if you go to a team that has decent lines and decent skill position players, he will thrive.
But that's at the bottom of the draft.
I know. Well, I think the Steelers are a home run pick.
Me too.
If he goes to Steelers, watch out. He'll have a good year.
Pick for him.
Yeah,
right.
He'll have a good year. Good weapons there. Good offensive line there.
If you send him like Cam, how many people? Cam? The coaches that are currently there now will not benefit from anything they do in the next 2 years with him. Do you understand that? Because they're going to suck because of the shitty personnel around them.
No, yeah, they're not good. They're not good enough. There's no doubt.
They're not ready for a quarterback.
Kyle brings up a good one. Watch for the Colts at 14. I could see that.
I could see that too. But then that's an immediate. That means Jim Irsay has to immediately agree to the fact that he failed with Anthony Richardson. And Zander, you and I, since day one, guy with 51% completion percentage in the
Dude.
Southeastern Conference is not going to improve in the NFL. How would
here's the
anybody
funniest part
think that would
too.
improve?
The funniest part about his 51% was it was an ugly 51%. You know, like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like a pretty 51%, or it looked better than it actually appeared on paper. His was the opposite. If you watch the Florida game when he was there, it was damn near unwatchable. He couldn't throw the ball to anybody. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He couldn't put a golf ball into the ocean. He couldn't do shit. I knew that was coming with Anthony Richardson.
Justin Fields is better.
Yeah, Justin Fields was much better. Anthony Richardson is not a polished player at all.
How about this here? I'm going to go back to the Saints here. So you give the Saints your 32nd, your 96th this year, and a 4th and 26th. And the Eagles they move and get the 40th pick, another 93rd pick, another second, and a 2nd and 26.
I do that deal. That sounds good to me. You drop back to the 2nd. You pick up a
Couple
second
out of the first.
Yeah, you pick up another 2nd rounder next year. I like that move. That
And,
sounds like
and another second this year.
Another 2nd this year, a 2nd next year. That's more than you're going to get. I mean, you're going to have to go future pick if you want to get that type of a haul. You're not getting 2 seconds back for 32 anywhere else. But I do think in Sills' scenario, it could be plausible where they would do that. But I actually like that trade that you proposed there. I think that's a pretty good one because 40 is where I want to go. If people want to trade out, I'm cool with that. But do we really want to fall to 50 or 48? Like,
No.
we got to be a little bit.
No, I want to be up there in like the 40 and the 30s, like in there.
Yeah.
Because I want to kill two birds with one stone to try to get an edge and a DT in this draft with premium picks. That's what I want to come away with. And I'm trying to get future picks. Let's face it, Howie's not going to use all 20 of these picks in the next 2 years. He's just not. He's going to package shit up to move up and down here. It may be this year, it may be next year here. Here's another one, Zander. To your point about Pierce, or maybe somebody up there they like, would you consider this? Go to Seattle. That's the 18th pick for James Pierce or an edge or someone you like. Seattle gets Dallas Goedert, the 32nd pick. They need a tight end. A 5th round, 164, and a 5th and 26. You get the 18th pick in the draft, and you also get a 7th rounder, number 223. For you to move up to 18, you would give Goddard your 32nd pick, a 5th rounder, 164, and a 5th and 26 to get the 18th pick for Dallas Goedert.
I don't think that's enough.
You get rid of money with Goddard. You move off the player, and who knows at 18 where that Tyler Warren kid goes.
Nah, he's not going to be there. But why do you? I don't think that's enough, Sills. I really don't. Look, people are talking about the Eagles are trying to get a 5th at it for Goddard or a conditional 4th, which I don't think they're going to get.
No,
so
I think you're getting a 6th.
Yeah, me too. Maybe a conditional 5th is what you might get. A 6th that could turn into a 5th is what I would say.
Yeah.
So if you got him, you got 2 other 5th round picks and 32. You think that's going to be enough to get you to the 18? That's a big jump, dude. 18. That's a big jump. That's a 14.
You're giving them a top. You're giving them a top player in Goddard. You're giving them the 32nd pick. You're giving them a 5th, and you're giving them a 5th and 26, and you're getting the 18th pick, and you're getting a 7th also for you to move up to the 18th spot.
Yeah, I don't agree. People in the chat are saying this is too much. I don't think it's enough to get the deal done. I don't think you're getting the 18 with Goddard and 2 5ths. Goddard, 32, 25 5th, and 2026 5th.
And the 32nd. You're getting a first rounder too. You're getting Goddard, a first rounder, a 5th, and a
that's probably
5th,
enough, maybe.
And a 5th and 26.
And
you move up to 18, and Seattle also gives you a 7th round 223rd pick.
I'd like to put that on. I almost like to put that into a trade calculator and see if that deal would get. Not that those are perfect or anything, but I would like to do that. That's pretty interesting.
Do
I
that.
mean,
Do it. I'd like to see how that comes out.
let
Because
me see if I can do it.
Goddard, you said Seattle, because you're looking to get, if there's a guy at 18 that they love so much, you put Goddard in a deal because you're trying to get, remember, too, also, you're killing two birds with one stone and getting rid of the money. Okay, so you're sending Goddard, your first round pick, a fifth, and you're sending a fifth and 26, and you're getting in return the 18th pick, and you also get a 7th round 223 to move up to 18.
I'd probably do that deal. I don't know if it would get the deal done, but
Walter Nolan may be there.
Yeah.
Walter Nolan.
That's probably a little rich for Walter Nolan. I don't know. He's one of those dudes who's mocked all over the board.
I know.
I think that's the fun part of this draft is that there's like 20 dudes that are like, some are have them top 15, sometimes they're 40. It's like, I don't know what's going on there, but it's very subjective, that part of the draft. Like Walter Nolan, James Pierce. I mean, just for example, I just clicked on the mock draft simulator thing. And I just started it, clicked on the Eagles, and it goes too quick. The simulation of it. But James Pierce is sitting there at 32. But like, I don't think he's going to be there.
No.
You know. Let me offer a trade. Let me offer this trade. You said this. You said
Dallas
Goddard go to 18.
Go to 18 where Seattle is.
Where Seattle is?
Yeah. Seattle gets Goddard, the 32nd pick, a 5th rounder, 164, and a 5th rounder in 26. The Eagles get back the 18th pick and a 7th round 223.
Right. All right, let me put this in here. I'm going to see if it does anything. All right, here we go. Offer trade.
They're going to get off of Goddard.
Goddard, 32, a 5th, and a 5th.
And 26.
And it's 5th and 26th.
And they get the 18th, and they get a 7th rounder back in 23. Or 223, they get the 7th rounder this year.
That went through. It went through. Now you're at 18.
Now you're at 18. And what are you really giving up here? You're giving Goddard, the last pick in the first round, a 5th rounder, and a 5th rounder in 26, where you got a shitload of comp picks next year, to move up from 32 to 18. You're not giving shit up, and you want to get off the player. And you might get Loveland there.
There's going to be a bunch of options there. If you go to 18, you're going to have way more options than you're thinking. You're going to have edge, tackle, tight end, all of them. Take your pick, or a secondary guy if you really want one of the secondary guys, which I don't think you do. But yeah, I got it, G-Fish. Thank you, bro. I got it.
How about this? You move up to 18, then you fucking trade that pick and you move back out, and you get yourself a 1st round pick next year.
Right. All right, let's see.
You think Howie's going to be wheeling and dealing in 9 days?
He's always wheeling and dealing.
He may look at this year's draft the same way we are. Look, I think there's 4 dudes in it. I think the rest of them are okay. I think it's deep at some positions, but I think those guys, like, I don't see a game-changing dude in this draft except for 2 guys. Maybe Cam. I don't know. I don't really think he's that hot.
No.
I think he's okay.
I like Shador more than Cam.
Hey, I think you like his pedigree.
I do. I just think he's going to give you a good chance. If you have a decent squad around him, I have a hard time believing Shador Sanders isn't going to be somewhat successful. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, he might be my worst take of the NFL draft this year. That I think he's going to work out. But I'm all right with it. I like the player. So I like him over Cam, but yeah, it's not the greatest draft. It really isn't. I mean, here's the thing though. There is some solid players. Like, it's not the greatest top end, but there's a lot of dudes, like even just looking at the edge rushers, right? I mean, you got Jalen Walker, you got Mike Green, you got Donovan Ezeraku, you got James Pierce, you got, like, there's a lot of dudes that you're like, they might not be huge, might not be Myles Garrett's, but they're going to be contributors in the NFL. So I like some of those good dudes, but from a top end standpoint, it's not great. I mean, it's definitely not great, which is why it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Like, does he want to move out? Does he want to move up? I don't know. I don't know.
After 10, they all sound the same to me. They all look the same. I mean, everyone's got an issue. Some guys are maybe not as explosive. Some guys are explosive but underweight. I think, like I said, and I'm going to say it again, I think you're going to get somebody in the second and third round that's going to have such an impact this coming season for a team that was overlooked because everybody looks the same.
Right.
And it's just going to be what you're like you said, here's again, once again, I'll reiterate. Did I rank the quarterbacks? I did. I ranked the quarterbacks. Here's my quarterbacks heading into this draft. So I got Cam 1. He's a first. Shador's going to go first somewhere. I think Jalen Milroe's going to hit down there at the bottom in the first round. Someone's going to be stupid and take him. Not that I think. Listen, I don't hate
Jalen Hurts for that. I think Jalen Hurts helped him a lot with that.
I think Jackson Dart's going to be a second round pick.
Ugh.
Jackson. I think that Quinn Ewers guy is probably going to be a third or fourth round pick. I think that kid from Syracuse is probably going to go in the second or third. Don't be shocked if you see Riley Leonard, that kid from Notre Dame who transferred from Duke.
I like Will Howard. I like Colin McCord. You brought up those guys yesterday, man. I like those two guys.
Yep. I got Will Howard, third or fourth round. And I got Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. Those are the 9 quarterbacks that I could see drafted coming up in the NFL.
You did the Louisville guy, the Tyler Shuck or whatever his name is.
You know what? I don't know. I think the infatuation with him is his athleticism, and they're kind of trying to tie him into Lamar Jackson kind of shit.
Oh God!
I don't see that. I mean, I just think because he went.
I don't know. John keeps telling me that the people in the NFL circles really like him, so I'm listening to him. But I mean, Lamar Jackson, are you crazy?
Well, you know what?
Remember, he's also 25. He's going to be 26 at the start of the year.
I've got no interest in that.
None.
I've got no interest in a guy who's
on a second. Is this dude older than Jalen Hurts? No, he's just a little bit younger.
He's as old as Jalen.
No, he's 1 year younger.
DI bill.
Yeah, he's 1 year younger than Jalen.
Holy cow, man! This guy's been on like a Mormon mission. I'm not interested in any shit like that. All right, couple last ones here before we get to the supers. Guys, please hit the like button. Guys have been great today. Wow, Zander's in a good mood. I'm pretty shocked. Anyway, hey, let me ask you this one here. What has made Jeffrey Lurie a better owner now, in your opinion, than 2018 after the Super Bowl? What do you think has been his difference, and what makes him – what is the one telling difference that you could tell with him?
I think I see experience. I think they don't make the same mistakes over and over again. I think he's been around the block now on everything. It's one thing to be around the block a lot, but if you've lost every year, you don't know how to handle winning. Now he's been around the block on winning a couple of times, and I think he's got the experience. The other thing I see that I don't have up close and personal on this, but, it's seemingly to me is that Philadelphia does seem to be an environment and an organization where people are able to spread their wings and whatever it is that they do, right? Like if you're a scout, it seems like everybody, I was talking to somebody and they really listen to all of their scouts. If you're a scout, you can spread your wings. If you're Howie Roseman, you can do what you feel you need to do to make the team better. If you're Nick Sirianni within your little, maybe he's not the best example, but within your sandbox, you can do what you want to do or do it your way, maybe. So, I don't know. I think he's done a good job. I think he's built a good organization, a good place to work. Everybody wants to be successful. It's one thing to, for the owner to want to be successful. I think the people that work there want to be successful. And I think he's created a good environment, man. Players want to be there. It's obviously the most important part. You can have a bunch of suits in the scouting room that want to be there, but if you don't have good players or players that want to play there, it doesn't work. So from that perspective, I do think it's a good place to play, a genuinely good place to play for a player in the NFL. And now he's got the right guy making decisions. I think Howie deserves more credit than Jeffrey. I'll say that.
See, I think he took a page from Big Sill's work, because Big Sill's is emotionally intelligent, and I'm never going to get really over the top like certain people I know. We're all going to have like really, level-headed conversations, and I believe right here that this guy I'll tell you where I do believe. Don't you think one thing here, dog, that he's enjoying himself more now because he's more engaged and being involved in the day-to-day operations, because under Andy and maybe even fighting Doug, that he really, I wonder if those guys were enjoying themselves. Don't they look like they're enjoying putting the pieces to the puzzle together? Him and Howie now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is why Nick is perfect, because, dude, Nick doesn't want what Doug wanted.
That's
I
right.
don't even think he cares.
That's right.
I think he's like, Howie, go do you, bro. Like, you give me a good team, I'll do my best to get the most out of them. That's it. I honestly believe that Nick is not, he doesn't care about getting more on his plate. Maybe because he's having a hard time handling what's already on his plate. But no, he's done a good job. I mean, the whole system does seem like it's working well right now. I give the most credit to Howie, though, not Jeffrey.
Last one here. How important do you think Andy Reid was to developing Jeffrey Lurie as an owner?
Oh, massive. I don't think the organization would be.
What do you think Andy had a bigger impact on, the owner or the GM?
I think the owner, because I think Howie got a lot of his stuff from Banner. Howie's like a better Banner, like a much better Banner.
Yeah.
He handles the
bedside manner.
Yes, way better bedside manner. Handles the players better. Handles all those things much better. So I think Howie got most of that from there. But the football philosophy did come from Andy Reid. And these guys don't have, like, Jeffrey Lurie was a movie producer. I mean, he might have liked football, but how do you know how to build a football team if you've never been entrenched in it? That's where I think Howie or Andy taught this organization, right? Go to the trenches first. Build from the inside out. Some of the organizational philosophies that they've stuck to, and to their credit, have done very well after Andy, but I think they got that from Andy, and I do think that helped Jeffrey Lurie a lot.
Would you ever think of signing Derek Carr as a backup quarterback in Philly?
No, not here. There's just no need. I mean, this city is weird with backup quarterbacks. We're always going to be. Our first Super Bowl came with a backup quarterback, and the starter fizzled out. Like, it's always going to be that way. So just knowing that you're trying to create long-term success, continuous success, I would not bring a guy like Derek Carr in. I mean, Kenny Pickett, I thought, was a little bit too much. I mean, he was a former first-round pick. I mean, why? But it never got to a point, because I think people knew that Pickett sucked. He wore 2 gloves to throw the ball. But I wouldn't go down the Derek Carr road. No, I think Carr actually can play.
He can. He wasn't awful.
I'm not a Carr hater at all. Yeah.
No. Hey, how about the rumor going around now that the Cowboys and the Dolphins are talking about potentially trading Tyreek Hill and putting Tyreek Hill on the other side of CeeDee Lamb?
That's perfect. Go ahead down there to Dallas. Tyreek Hill is an exceptional football player. He's an exceptionally bad winner. He's a loser, in fact, I would say. Some players are super gifted, and they're not great winners. There's a reason the Chiefs blew him out and then went on to win 2 more Super Bowls. He is a guy you can win with. He is not a guy who will make you win, okay? And I think he's a good player. I think he's, like, a very good player, actually. But go ahead. Doesn't scare me at all.
I've never liked him.
No, I know you haven't.
He's
a good player. You can't take that from him. He's a good player, but he's not a winner.
I like DK Metcalf's and, like, AJ. I like physical dudes that beat people up back there in the secondary.
He's cutesy. He runs by you.
I mean, look, there's a place for that. And one of the criticisms that people had for me when I got here was I think Devontae Smith's a physical guy. For as limited physically as he is, I'm talking like knocking people out. He's a physical dude. He's way more. You know who I thought he was going to be, Zander? that kid, Jamison Williams, up in Detroit, I thought he was going to be broken up like that all the time and beat up. You know, that kid up there that they got?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be more like that. Like he was going to be constantly in and out. He's not. He's a physically gifted kid, man. He really is.
You know, Curtis says, I don't know, Tyreek would make Lamb more dangerous. Curtis, I am not one of the Eagles fans that lives in denial about CeeDee Lamb, all right? He had 1,800 yards 2 seasons ago and 135 catches. Last year, he had 101 receptions for 1,200 yards. I mean, maybe he would make him more dangerous, but with or without him, CeeDee Lamb is one of the best wide receivers in football. Again, I've had debates on this with Eagles fans. Eagles fans got mad at me because I said he was better than Devontae Smith. CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, is one of the 5 best wide receivers in the NFL.
He's better than Devontae. He is.
Yeah, CeeDee, come on, man. CeeDee's a great player. And, you can hate Dallas and say that. The Devontae Smith, I love. In fact, if Devontae was given the same situation as CeeDee, I think Devontae could be that good or better, but he's not. He's the second wide receiver here. He's never had a chance to flourish to that level in his career. And CeeDee Lamb is, I mean, come on, he's certified, man. You have 100+ catches in 3 straight seasons. He's got 6,400 receiving yards in his first 5 years in the league. I mean, come on, guys. That's a damn good football player. 496 catches.
My only criticism of him would be if I dropped A.J. Brown in that slot, A.J. Brown would have 135 catches a year because you're not going against the top corners in the league, dude. Yeah, you're going against safeties.
But the one pushback with that in Dallas is, dude, they didn't have another receiver last year.
I get it.
You know, they didn't have
They had to put him in the middle of the field.
They had to. And the other thing is, even if you're a defense, it's like, all right, my best corners are outside versus a bunch of stiffs. Or I can move them inside or run a different – look, there's a lot of different coverages you can do to take away the middle of the field. There's a lot of things you can do. CeeDee Lamb seems to produce above all. So, I actually really like CeeDee Lamb. I'm not going to lie to you. He's one of the NFL players I really like.
I wish the Eagles did more of that in the slot with AJ. I wish they moved him around more because that might make the middle of the field open up more. Because of the inconsistency of Dallas Goedert. But then when you drop a guy like A.J. Brown down in the middle of the field like that, you're just like asking for trouble down there for injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot more traffic. You're going against bigger people too. Remember that. You know, one thing you give CeeDee credit for, you may be going against lesser guys, but you're going against bigger people. You're going against linebackers.
Yeah, it's tough on the body, and he's not the biggest dude in the world. Nope. I mean, he's not the biggest dude in the world. But, yeah, I mean, Devontae Smith is 4,000 yards in 4 years. CeeDee has 6,505 yards. So, I mean, they're not really in the same quite in the same caliber. But, maybe if you do you think if Devontae was given or was the number 1 receiver in Philly, it would look different? Like, do you think he'd be able to compete with a guy like CeeDee, or he's not that talented?
He'd be Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, I think he's a little better than that. I'm not an Ayuk guy at all.
Brandon Ayuk gets 1,400 yards a year.
Yeah, but Brandon Ayuk plays he plays cutesy. He doesn't play like Smitty. Smitty's polished.
I think Smith. Now, again, it's hard to say because he's in a 2 role.
He's in a 2 role, but here's what I like about him. He's one of the best route runners you'll see in the game.
It's not a big time passing offense.
No, it's not a big time passing offense at all. But he's very polished route runner. I mean, one of the best in terms of route running. So I think if he was a number 1, he would thrive because I think he would get open on anybody. You know, and he's obviously the hands aren't an issue at all. But
let me ask you this: when he's not in the game, do you notice?
Smitty, I mean, it's hard to say you do in this offense. But dude, we were such a run team last year.
Yeah, but when AJ's not out there, I notice it.
Yeah, when AJ's
not there, I notice him not being there. Dude, they won games last year without him out there on the field, man. When you got AJ Brown not in there, man, that run game suffers even. AJ Brown has so much more impact on the run game than people think because you got to defend it, bro. You just can't.
Yeah.
You just can't climb down in the box and go, screw that guy out there on the number. You got to defend him. And to some extent, you got to do the same bullshit to Goddard. Goddard makes it like if I'm a coordinator and I'm looking at guys like Smitty doesn't frighten me. Go ahead, get your numbers, kid. I don't really think you can beat me. Goddard can beat me.
Yeah, there is
AJ
some
can beat me.
perfecto in there. Devontae's had some big catches and some big games for this team, man. Like, you know, even back to that 22 Super Bowl, he was a big part of the offense in that game. So I don't want to go that far, but I see what you're saying. I mean, you can live with him getting his yards. You know, you can live with that. I see.
So you
that.
think he's better than T. Higgins?
I think he's about equivalent to T. Higgins. Yeah.
T. Higgins is a bigger dude, too.
T. Higgins is a bigger dude, but I think Devontae is more technical, more fundamental, better at that stuff.
He's got a better passer in Cincinnati.
Way better. I mean, let's be real.
I'm not talking about
Joe Burrow is the best passer in the NFL.
Yes.
Agree or disagree? Yeah.
Yes, completely. I think he's better. I think he's better than Mahomes as a passer.
He is better than Mahomes. Joe Burrow is a passer. That is what he is as a quarterback. He is, and he's damn good at it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. So
Mahomes is more complete in what he can do, and he's got a great play caller. Personally, I think that coach is on the hot seat.
What is that coach? That's such a Bengals.
Yeah.
What is that coach, bro?
It's like a Marvin Lewis hire.
Yeah, well, it's just a classic Bengals move.
What's his name? Bruce Arians said that Burrow's the real deal. He goes, that guy's the best arm in football. He goes, and that includes a guy in Buffalo too. So again, all right, Zander, let's read these supers, guys. You were
we got to thank
outstanding today.
Here we go. We got to thank a couple of people. We got some Aqua Teen gifts 5 memberships to the people.
Thank you,
Aqua Teen. Look at that car. What is that? An old Lambo in there? Dude, what is that? I can't see it. That's super small on my monitor, which is a little.
Hold on here. Is that a Ferrari?
It looks like it might be an old school Ferrari or Lambo in that sucker. It's really far from me.
Guess what I saw yesterday? So I'm driving by here, and all of a sudden, a guy comes right up. This guy had an Aston Martin.
No, was that an NSX, an Acura NSX in that picture?
Oh my God, that's a good looking picture, man. Dude, an Aston Martin drove by us yesterday. I'm like, people are real. That's a $350,000 car.
Yeah, there you go. You were right, Twiz. Good call, brother. Aqua Teen checks in Acura NSX. That was my dad's favorite car when he was like favorite supercar-esque looking thing when he was younger. Was the NSX. They used to work at the Acura dealer. My parents.
I think I had one.
Dude, NSXs are badass, man. I think they discontinued.
Did they have the package, the AMG package on it?
Acura NSX.
Did they have an AMG package? I had an Acura like that. My wife drove it.
Yeah, they discontinued after 22. I knew it. Man, that's a sweet car.
Now, did they have it from like 1989, 90? Did they have it? Did it start in 90?
It started. Yeah, the NSX has been around for definitely.
I believe I had one.
That wouldn't.
I had a red Acura like that.
I like Acuras, man. Acuras are nice cars. Aqua Teen, thank you, bro. We are tuning on over your car, but we do appreciate gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Cool, and Nad Dio as well gifts 5 memberships.
Hey.
So thank you
guys. Are killing it. Thank you.
So thank you so much. We appreciate both of you guys.
Hey, Aqua Teen, I had one, and I'm going to try to find a picture of that because I had one. Me and Alonzo Highsmith bought them together, and they were low profile, right? My wife and I used to drive this car, this Acura. It was so loaded, dude. I traded my Corvette on it. It was like $65,000 back in the day, dude. This is when I was playing pro ball, though. You know, it was easy to go in there and pay that shit on cash.
Yeah,
that shit was nice.
Yeah, Curtis brings up it was discontinued for a long time. They made a short return. That's right. I actually like the new body, Curtis. The new body was pretty good looking, but probably not a big enough market for purchase for Acura buyers.
So I'm a GTO guy and a California special kind of guy too, and I will go for a Corvette, a 63 split window coupe. I like some of those. I like the Ferrari Daytonas.
Yeah, they're nice.
I'm a big car guy too.
Yeah, I love cars. Yeah, how do you not love cars? I don't know. I feel like how do you not love cars? I mean, they're just.
I love goats. I love GTOs, man.
Yeah, they're nice. I'm a big Mustang guy. I always have been. Matt Dio says, "What's up, Dio? Thank you for the gift of the super chat or the members." And here we go with the super chat. He says, "This explains a lot about Sil's communication. LOL equals lots of love, not laugh out loud." Yeah, I never heard that. What's up with that?
I don't know. This guy was giving me LOL, and I'm like, this guy's throwing me lots of love.
That means laugh out loud.
What? Okay. I thought it was lots of love. I don't know. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not in on my OGs or my emojis.
It's a little corny. I won't lie to you. I use it sometimes, though, so I don't want to throw myself under the bus completely. Dio, member for 9 months. He says, facts. Nick had 3 different QBs while he was offensive coordinator each year in Indy. Luck, Brissett, and Rivers. Brissett was a mobile and RPO quarterback. He was not mobile. Jacoby Brissett, Theo.
Bro, he was a drop back guy. And
All
guess
right,
who
wait,
the
let me read
OC
this shit.
was? Guess who the OC really was in Indy? It was Frank.
Yeah,
on,
he's not a mobile quarterback, bro. He had a different offense with each QB. That's true. Steichen was with Chargers where Sirianni coached.
Come on, dog.
Jacoby Brissett is not a mobile quarterback.
No, man.
Dude,
Absolutely not.
Come
Absolutely.
on, man. Jacoby Brissett. I'm a mobile quarterback if Jacoby Brissett is.
Yeah.
Mike Cannon checks in. Member for 5 months. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Character concerns with Pierce. Is Sawyer close enough in talent? Staying at 32 would make sense. Sawyer's not a first-round pick.
No,
No.
but he's a second-round guy. I want to show you something here.
What are the major character concerns on James Pierce? Because I've seen a little bit. I haven't seen too much on it, but
I don't care.
I don't either, bro. Sometimes I feel like
he didn't kill anybody. He didn't slap a chick. He didn't rob a bank. I don't care if it's pot.
They say he's viewed as uncoachable.
Come on, he played 4 years at Tennessee.
Site distractions. I mean, I don't.
That sounds like agent bullshit to me. Come on, man.
I'm not sure. I don't know much about it,
I'm
but
not going there.
I really like James Pierce. So maybe I got my blinders on, but I think he'd be a good pick.
No, Zander, here's the thing. I'm not listening to any of that shit like you told me. Here's the one thing you talk about with Sanders. You will never hear me say this. Well, I don't like the guy because he's Deion Sanders' son. What's that got to do with the kid?
Yeah, I agree.
You know why? One of the reasons I don't like him? He holds the ball too damn long. He sits in the pocket too long. And now, again, you got a shitty O-line. You got to get that football out of there. He'd rather take sacks. That's a problem I have. Sitting in the pocket, waiting for routes to develop. Well, son, if you go to a shitty team like the Giants, get used to that because you're going to get hit.
Yep, I know. Kyle says, speeding ticket. I just got one of those. Kyle, be safe on the road, brother. Come on, be safe on the road.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, Kyle. Abe checks in. What up, Abe? Appreciate you, brother. He says, Sills, to your point yesterday to why Milton and Nolan took too long to produce was because they had Reddick, Cox, Hargrave, Sweat, and start ahead of them. Carter is different. It's true. It's actually a good point. A lot of guys in front of those dudes, man. Remember the other thing, too, that we didn't hit on yesterday. Mario Jomo has been in the system for 2 years. I'm not saying he's going to be Milton Williams, but it took Milton Williams a couple years to get there.
3.
He was pretty good in a smaller role last year. I think he could be good. And the other guys, Thomas Booker's now been developing in this role. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be this world-beating player, but he has been in the system. Maybe he can make a little bit of a jump and then contribute next year. So we'll see. Hey, thank you, bro. Kimbo's checks in. What's up, Kimbo's? Kirby
Guys,
said,
I appreciate these supers. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah,
please hit the like button. We're a little low in likes.
Oh, come on. Kimbo says, Kirby said Starks, as soon as he walked on the field as a freshman, he wanted to start him. 42 starts in 43 games and pin Brock Bowers down. Yeah, I said yesterday, Kimbo said he's the best safety in the draft. I keep hearing Nick Emanwari, and I turned on the Emanwari tape because admittedly I hadn't seen that much of it. And I'm like, this guy's missing tackles everywhere. He's blowing coverages left and right. He's one of those dudes that's super athletic. But do you have a feel for playing the game of football? Malachi clearly has that.
How about this, too? When you watch him play, and then you hear with all those great Georgia players that Kirby identified him the first week in Athens. That's my safety. Bro, there's so many great players in Athens right now. They're the number 1 recruiting program in the country right now.
Yeah,
number 1.
I'm a Bama guy.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
And he's identifying that guy. That's why that guy jumps off the charts to me.
Yeah, I think you're going to see
off the charts.
I think you're going to see another big shift coming in college football. We'll maybe save that combo for another day, but I think the SEC is going to start to weaken a little bit, and you're going to start to see. Now, remember, they have the Texas schools, so the Texas schools are not going anywhere. Obviously, they got the most money, but basically look at whoever makes the most money and has the most money for NIL. Those are the teams that are going to rise to the top. And it's going to be more than just being, I'm Alabama, so come here. I think there's going to start to be, remember, you're no longer just paying players. These guys are now some of the richest people in society. They're 1% earners, which means situation matters, city matters, the women on campus matter, the weather matters, taxes matter, all those things matter.
Exposure.
So exposure, all of those things. So the landscape for those who follow college football like Sills and I, the changes have just begun, dude.
You want to know what program is going to get killed because of NIL? Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you change your admissions and what you're looking at and what you're doing, you are going to be in trouble, because if Notre Dame knocks on my door, think about what Brian Kelly did. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to a $100 million contract at LSU.
Yeah.
Bro, if you're recruiting me today, here's where I'm going. I might go to the University of Houston. Why?
Yeah.
Look at their hoop program. Look at where they're located. They're located in wealth. Tax-free state, Houston, Texas, oil money. Keep an eye on SMU, Houston, University of Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, all of those programs, Zander. I think Bama's got to have a come to Jesus conversation.
I agree. Basically why I brought this up. Yep, I agree.
What you got to have a come to Jesus? Do you want to spend money? Because you know how Auburn can catch them? Nil. You have now made it so nil can have the have-nots catch you now, because they're doing shit now. Bro, I said this. The kid from Tennessee, I know a lot of people hate it. I heard you say, worst thing in the world. You know what happened? Well, guess what? You're going to weed out shitty programs, and it's going to be 50 programs, Zander, that are going to have an opportunity to win a national championship. Yeah. Why is Temple involved in college football at all? Why are they doing it and rolling a team out? For the environment? How many people in college sports today do that just for a good Saturday? Those days are gone, dog. I mean, Temple should just focus completely on hoop.
Yeah.
And get rid of the football program, because you're going nowhere with it. Yeah. You know what? You should have club football.
See, Sean says I'm underestimating the SEC. Sean, I overstated that. I didn't really mean it like that. I more meant because I'm a Bama guy. I think that Bama is not the most desirable place to play, especially without Nick Saban now in that room. Even if you offer me a big bag of money, there's a lot of places, even in the SEC, that I would choose over Alabama. Now, I think what the SEC has, though, is they have both of the Texas schools. Obviously, Texas joined the SEC last year, so you're never going to go backwards when you have the Texas schools, because they get the most money. They have the most boosters. They have the richest programs. So that's going to help. But, here's the thing. Let's look at the playoff. You had Notre Dame. You had Penn State. You had Ohio State. You had Texas. Obviously, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. I mean, those aren't SEC schools. I know Texas was, but Boise State was in there. Arizona State was in there. Oregon was in there. Now, Georgia and Tennessee were in there, but you also had Clemson. You had SMU. You had Indiana. Like, there's going to start to be a lot more changes in college football. And just because you're Alabama doesn't mean you get all the recruits.
What do you notice about Penn State? 110,000 attendance. Clemson, 97,000 attendance. Tennessee, Neyland Stadium, 100,000 attendance.
Neyland's beautiful.
Boise State, 85,000 attendance. Every one of the schools that were made the playoffs. Do you know that Alabama gets 87,000 fans for the red-white game? You know what that is, folks? That's the spring game.
Spring game. Yep. I went to it. I went to multiple years at Bama when I was there.
Miami can't get 40,000 into a regular season ball game.
Yeah. See, Sean says, Zander, watch how many players come out of the SEC in the first round of the draft. Sean, I'm not disputing that, but here's the pushback. Ready? They're talking about Ohio State might break Georgia's record for over 16 draft picks in this year's draft. Again, I'm not saying the SEC is not going to produce top talent, but I'm just saying you will see it spread amongst the schools that have money. Ohio State's going to be up there. Penn State's going to be up there. The Texas schools are obviously going to be up there. Auburn will be up there always. Tennessee, Michigan. Those guys will all be up there, man, because they got money, they got funding, they got all sorts of stuff.
Michigan's going to have 3 guys go in the first round, and they won 7 ball games last year.
Dude, what about Miami? Are they positioned to handle this? I mean, they used to have the best NIL program in the game.
Bro, the quarterback they just signed from Georgia is driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah, well, good. That's what they need. I mean, you can sit here and say, "Oh, look at the college playoffs are done, or college football is gone." That's the reality. So if you don't want to come, play the game, you're going to get squashed. That's what's going
Twitch,
to
you're
happen.
right. Miami's not the greatest sports city. It's just
No,
not.
it's bad. But
It's
here's
just
the
not. I
they
mean,
check a lot of other boxes. They got warm weather. They got great taxes. They got beautiful women. They're in South. They're in Florida. Come on. So there's a
bro,
lot of good there too.
there
But
is no question Miami's not the greatest.
James says, what do y'all think about drafting Starks and the safety from Penn State? Put him in the slot, move Cooper to the outside. I think you're talking about Kobe King, the
Yeah.
Penn State guy. No. That's the linebacker. Who's the safety from Penn State?
Is that the kid that's supposed to go in the second round?
Why am I blanking on this Penn State safety's name?
There's so many.
Come on, we got a lot of Penn State guys in the chat. How about somebody help me out?
Yeah, I can't. Here's the thing about Penn State. You got a great roster. James Franklin just can't coach big games.
No, he stinks.
Is it Winston kid?
Yeah, Kevin Winston, maybe Kevin Winston Jr. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, they got a lot of Penn State is always going to be in the building because, bro, they're donors. They got a boatload of donors. It's a great Penn State's got a great fan base, man.
Penn State's
just a great fan base.
I'm a Penn State hater, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. Matt Dio says Brissett was mobile compared to Rivers and Luck, and they used RPOs for Brissett like Nick Foles. They did use a little bit more RPOs with them. I was just pushing back on a mobile quarterback. I mean, Dio, mobile.
But Luck got taken out. Luck was way more mobile. Luck tried to knock you out like he was a linebacker. Dude, the reason that Andrew Luck quit the game was because he was an RPO guy.
Yeah. Luck was such a unique quarterback, man.
Absolutely. He was a unicorn kind of guy.
He could run, but he was better at throwing it downfield than anything. So that was the best way.
Hey, I appreciate these supers, guys. Keep them coming.
All right. I think we got them all. But yeah. Georgia's a good one too, Kimbos. No doubt. Georgia will be a top program for a long time.
Georgia's got a lot of donors that will always pay to that program. But what's happened at Alabama was recruiting people with their history and with their lineage of getting players into the National Football League and paying them and getting them paid, kind of like Kentucky. Well, what's happened is Nick didn't get the same money coming in. There's not a lot of donors throwing money towards Alabama. And I think in the next 3 years, that guy they got from Washington, I'll tell you what, bro, he's got a tough ass. I think you get, I'll say it again. I think you get Dabo Swinney. Dabo's a guy that knows how to handle nil and does that stuff. I think he's done a great job at Clemson. And plus Dabo's a Bama guy. And he played at Alabama.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you need to get a Bama guy in there that understands the culture.
I don't know if Dabo's going to be interested in this whole thing. I don't see it with him. You remember when we had him on this program after it was kind of all starting? I almost got depressed listening to him. I was like,
because he was against the nil.
He just didn't want it. You could tell he didn't want to shake and bake in it, And like you can hate it, that's fine. But if you don't,
maybe that's why they've stepped back.
Yeah, because I don't think he truly wants to play this game. And in a way, you're almost living in denial. So I like Dabo, though. I've always been a Dabo guy, even when they were beating
thing here on the quarterback from Tennessee. What's your take on it?
Versus what? For what?
For the future of college football, Nico Eva.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is one thing I appreciate about your show is I had a different take on him yesterday until I heard you, and I thought you explained your part of it very well. I was thinking of it like if I'm an NFL team, I'm not taking that guy, for doing that. But at the end of the day, you're right. Coaches have been doing this for years. This guy's future is not guaranteed. His value is this right now. If you're not going to pay him, and he's going to go and make it, and you can't knock him for that. So I thought that was a good take by you. But look, it's changing. It's changing rapidly. Go Clemson.
What it's done, it's weeding out the have and have-nots. And what you're doing is here, like you said, you think this kid's really going to be this Nico Eva? Think it's going to be a first round, second round, third round pick. He was okay at Tennessee. He wasn't great, but if you can make $4 million in college being a quarterback, I mean, why wouldn't you? Who would begrudge a guy? If a coach saw a better opportunity to make $1 million compared to making $6 million, Do you begrudge the coach to jump to that and go make that $6 million? Why is it always on the kid? The kid to look like shit. But when a coach does it, nobody says shit about it. The coaches have been doing it forever.
I'm with you. This is the game now. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
That's a great take by you when you said that.
Yeah. Prince says, what about Fannin Jr. at tight end? I'm not a fan, Prince.
The
guy can't block. Glorified receiver from Bowling Green. I mean, look, like the player. I think he's going to be solid, but not a fit for Philly. Not in my opinion.
Would you take him in the 4th round?
I just don't want that type of tight end, Sills. We barely use our wide receiver 3, dude.
Got that now in Calcaterra, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Fannin is literally like a wide receiver the way he plays the game. He doesn't block at all. He's a good route runner. He's a receiver at tight end. I don't think that's a good fit for Philly.
All right, did we get them all here?
Yeah, we got them all. All right, Sills, I appreciate you, brother. Look at Charlie. Says you have to go to State College, beautiful PA Rolling Hills. I have been to State College, Charlie Swift. It's nothing special. Let me tell you.
It's the land of Amish. Yeah, I mean, come on now, man. You roll up on that stadium. That's the only thing in that bitch. And plus,
I love the Amish. The Amish are good people, man.
Let me say this. I didn't say. I just said it's the land of Amish. There's just people like carts everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
And so you roll around, and then there's Penn State. You're like, holy shit there. Hey, Zander, man. How you feeling, buddy? You all right?
I'm good, Sills. I feel good, man. I feel real good, actually. I feel real good, Sills. All right, let me get out of here. I don't want to tip my head.
Hey, good stuff, brother. Man.
All right, thanks. Hey, appreciate all you guys.
By the way, that kid did a great job evaluating the draft today that was on Birds 365. He did a really nice job. Make sure you check that interview out. Their draft specialist, man. He did a really nice job, and I'll tell you what I do like about what he said, too. I agree with him on the tight end, and I told you this, the kid from Penn State, that Tyler Warren kid, he may not be Brock Bowers, but he's kind of like Brock Bowers. That kid's going to be a great football player, man. I mean, hey, if you told me Tyler Warren would be better than Abdul Carter in 5 years in the NFL, I would believe you. Okay? I would believe that. Maurice is going to join us at 5:30. So, again, I mean, we're going to go back over those drafts. We're going to go back over the picks, too. We're going to do that here in a second. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure you check out my great friends at Morgan & Morgan. #1 injury law firm in America. These guys have a track record of almost $30 billion in recovered for all families across the country. Look what they're doing for the folks out in California. People that lost their homes. They're out there making sure that anyone who had their insurance canceled, you can call Morgan & Morgan. If you have damages and you believe that you've been injured by those insurance companies, they're going full force right after them. Right here in PA, that family got $26 million. They initially wanted to give them $650K. No way. Morgan & Morgan made sure that they went after those folks. Down in Florida, family got nearly $13 million. And they only wanted to give $350K. Morgan & Morgan and their team of attorneys, thousands across the country, made sure that they went in and did the best for that and those families. It's a family-run operation. It's been that way for over 35 years with Ultima and John Morgan. If you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sil sent you.
This is Eric. When he got